I also want to ask, because you mentioned about minerals, and we have been sort of obviously we have seen a situation where the tech, especially the AI related tech, that's also being protected and guarded very closely by some of the very large economies or the largest economies, and they are averse to sharing technology for larger humanity or with their so-called rivals and all of that. Now, how does one navigate that? Because the benefit of technology is actually realized when it spreads everywhere.
I think this is a key question that we are working a lot on, and there's going to be a lot of sessions here at the annual meeting looking at also the dimension of what, let's say, the latest developments in AI, which we are approaching from a position of this is almost like a super system that is emerging, a super industry of not only the large language model technologies and other technologies around AI, but also, as you know, there is a huge revolution in financial services around it. There are infrastructure, energy implications. So it's a whole value chain of things. And you're right, it's changing the way nation states cooperate, also changing the way, of course, how nation states cooperate with some big tech players. So it is something that we track very closely. I think it's important that we have more of a granular understanding. What are the types of frameworks that are actually taking place? Obviously, there are certain frameworks or steps that are being undertaken by the big powers. But what is actually quite interesting is more what's happening for the middle powers and for the smaller countries, which just by default, they can't afford the full stack. And so we are already seeing concepts around data sharing, countries almost kind of exporting their data sovereignty to another nation, which then has more compute and has cheaper energy. And there are ways that these countries are actually dealing with it. So, for example, the concept of a digital embassy is something that we're exploring here. But you're right that it is changing the nature of collaboration. And this also then, of course, is related to critical minerals. And I mentioned that, for example, some of the newer trade agreements that are being signed also have certain aspects that are related to strategic cooperation on minerals.
Absolutely. One last question. Are you concerned about not only tariff, but the sort of disalignment that's happening or prevailing between major economic blocs of global economy? So you have Europe, which is now threatening to retaliate to some of the latest tariff moves announced by US. There is an ongoing, not so harsh, but a subtle situation between China and US. India and US free trade agreement, or the trade deal, so-called, has been in the making for such a long time. So a lot of large economic blocs are actually not really in alignment at this point. Are you concerned about that?
It's more, it is a situation that is really evolving and is one of those high velocity issues right now in the economy. You mentioned a few of those trade fault lines, if you will. We will have this week here a lot of the protagonists that are concerned with these negotiations. And so our role is really to make sure that we can play a small part if we can help. Because we believe in dialogue. That's why we are putting it also as the theme of the annual meeting this year, and it starts with engagement, and we have all these protagonists here. So we hope they are coming in the spirit of dialogue.
Absolutely.